her mom will visit her with her friends. The mom is not a traditionalist. She is a Christian, a Christ Apostolic Church goer, a CAC woman. But as a mother, she will bring her friends from Lagos. They will travel down to Ile-Ife to celebrate the festival, like I said earlier, with her daughter. So we have this fundamentalist who happen to be the Imam of Ife, by the way. That is the man they alleged, right? Was behind the attack. There are instances prior to that. Okay, for example, is openly condemned this, this sort of a tradition, kind of, and is also promised them that he was going to show them this particular year. This is why the fingers have been pointed at him. All right. So the woman, according to what she said there, she knows those behind the attack. She knows the household where this happened. So he said when they were coming back from the group, like I said, they got to this spot called More. And that was where they started hurling stones at all of them. Unfortunately, she happened to be the main, victim of that attack. Other people sustained other kind of injuries too. That she bled enough that she ended up in the hospital, like saw her face and all that. Intolerance. Personally, right? I don't want to make it a big thing, but even though it is, you see, in Yoruba land, the people that have suffered the religious intolerance in Yoruba land have been the traditionalists, right? They have been the most condemned. They have been called evil deeds. They have been called so many things. But I have not seen anywhere where the traditionalists, for any reason, stage an attack, like unprovoked attack on any other religion. Or again, don't forget, I'm not going to say this is, because it is Yoruba land, right? I'm not going to say this is what the Islamists or the Muslims are all about in Yoruba land. They are not. But we are experiencing some new fundamentalist extremists. Somehow, maybe because we now have the social media where everything, as they happen, they are likely going to make it onto the social media with evidence. Maybe that is why we have more of these instances. We have more of all this evidence of these attacks these days. Yeah? But it is like there are coordinated sort of an attack on the traditionalists in Yoruba land. And that should call for concern, or it does kind of call for concern. So I've been trying to get what that Imam looks like, because that can help us. Like, the Imam of Iseyin, who was captured on camera, telling his congregation that the Imam is the father of king. That the Imam will never prostrate for any king. Rather, it is the king that will prostrate for Imam. That in his own religion, he is above the supposed constituted Yoruba traditionals too. And he's saying, I think, in the same Oyo state. So we have had this coordinated sort of, sponsored attacks on the Yoruba's tradition. And the people they are using, they are not externals. They are Yorubas. And this is a region where, all these religions are kind of like warmly welcomed, where everyone practices their belief without any hindrance or what have you. But suddenly, they are now brewing the idea of intolerance that will then make a lot of people, right, to possibly question what is the motive behind all of this. So we'll put it out there and keep putting this out, right? And the responsible authority, as much as the place is so lawless anyway, but yeah, the authority responsible for issues like this will take it up and ensure that this never happened again. You know, because one of the things that we must do our best to avoid in Yoruba land is this religious war. And the religious war is kind of war that, you know, nobody wins. Because everyone will believe that they are fighting to protect their faith. I mean, their own faith. And in that regard, it's going to be probably the last man standing. And in cases like this, there will never be any last man standing. So if they want to decimate the people, push the idea of religious war among them, because I am very very sure. You know what people told me these days? Now we have young people who are now withdrawing from Islam or withdrawing from Christianity or churches and all of that. And they are actually picking up traditional religion now. Because why? And I'm saying this not because it's currently at the highest scale. Okay. Like maybe that is why there are people that will likely disagree, which is fine. But we are now having people who are dropping the idea of Islam, idea of Christianity, and according to them, going back to the traditional way of worship for different reasons in Yoruba land right now. So that simply means that if things should go south and people begin to want to defend what they believe, there is going to be a massive decimation of ourselves, or because we want to defend what we call our faith. And the purpose is not for any of us to win. The purpose will be for us to be decimated and weaken ourselves from within. What has never happened in Yoruba land before, we now want to become the norm, right? Once you have weakened yourself, anywhere two brothers fight to death, it is always the strangers that will inherit their land. So the supposed people who are meant to be the elders of the land should, I know they are doing their best. I saw the other day where the Christian leaders, the Islamic leaders, as well as the traditionalist leaders, Yemele and the rest of them, publicly denounced those who are pushing the idea of division, religious division in Yoruba land. So we need more of that. We need to continue to remind those who, who are sponsoring them, pushing this kind of a divisive rhetoric in Yoruba land to desist. Yeah? To desist. Still in Yoruba land. Someone sent me a clip, and it's a clip of, we are talking about the level of poverty, unemployment, as well as the increase in crime. There is something about poverty. Wherever there is increase in poverty, anywhere, there will be increase in, there will be sort of increase in crime, because people want to survive. Unfortunately, right? It's, people will not go on and rob the people that looted them. They won't go on and then steal from those that put them in this economic situation, like bad economic situation. It is always going to be dog eats dog. I think you may find this video a little bit funny, but it's not. So I'm going to share that with you. It's also like almost in Yoruba. There was these two men who were planning to rob a compound, and their technique, right, is something that is like ingenious. So let me tell you before I play the video. They arrived at this compound. Probably they have been surveilling the compound, for a while So when they got outside on their bike, they packed stones and they flung the stones into the roof of the compound, expecting people at least to come out and say, who are those people throwing stones? So if no one responds, definitely the house is empty and they could go in and then rob the house. But the house was not empty. People didn't respond. The house was not empty. Someone or two guys, two people were actually at home recording the attempted robbery in Yoruba. Let me show you.
Irọ́ ni o. Kí ló dé yìí dá òkúta?
Ẹ fẹ́ mọ̀ bí àwọn èèyàn wà nílé mi. Ẹgbẹ́ tó ń bá dà òkúta bẹ́ẹ̀ tí èèyàn bá wà nílé mi á pariwo pé ká ló ní. Kàyé ló ti gbà wọ́n.
Ṣé ká pa ẹ̀dùn? Ẹ já pariwo lé lórí bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. Bóyá dádì Tolú wà nílé.
Má ti pa mí. Jẹ́ ní sùúrù. Ẹ jẹ́ ká kà mọ́ ká kà nǹkan tó fẹ́ ṣe.
Eléyìí bá ń sọ àwọn èèyàn ní báyìí.
Kí ni kọ́ ló máa fàárọ̀ ayé wọn ṣiṣẹ́? Wọ́n fàárọ̀ ayé wọn ń jalè.
Ṣé ń wá káàkiri?
Ní nǹkan. Àwọn ilé tí ń jalè ti pẹ́ o. Wọ́n ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ máa ń jalè yìí o.
Méjì wí wá.
Wọ́n náà ti dé. Ṣé bí wọ́n ṣe máa ń ṣe rè fàdúgbò bá ti dá? Ṣé pé dìjẹ́ yẹn ló lọ?
Wàhálà ìbí jẹ́ ló lọ.
Ṣé pé dìjẹ́ yẹn ló lọ?
Wàhálà.
Tó má dáadáa.
Bàbá yìí dẹ̀ máa ń pariwo pé wọ́n jí òun ní nǹkan.
Ṣé ó wá lọ pé kejì ẹ̀ wá? Wọ́n àtún kápò dání.
Ọmọ.
Káì, wọ́n lè ti ń ṣe tipẹ́. Wọ́n lè ti ń ṣe tipẹ́, wọ́n ti ń ṣe tipẹ́.
Ṣé wọ́n yìí rò bí wọ́n rí wa?
Wọ́n rí láíláí. Wọ́n ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ máa ṣe àwọn gangan ni. Àwọn ni wọ́n ṣe lọ gbé jẹnẹrétọ̀ ní jẹnẹrétọ̀.
Ẹ já pariwo bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn.
Ẹ̀mí ti dàgbà ní àwọn nǹkan tó fẹ́ ṣe.
Ǹjẹ́ àmọ̀ yìí pé ọjọ́ gbogbo ń tó lọ?
Ọjọ́ kan ń tó lọ.
Ọjọ́ kan ń tó ló mú báyìí.
Wọ́n mọ̀ pé àwọn àwọn.
Wàhálà.
Wọ́n lè máa ní ìkíní. Àwọn ilé with confidence náà fi wá o.
Wàhálà
àwọn ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ máa ṣe.
Wọ́n tún mú mi.
Ní bá rí wọn ẹrù bóyá bọ́là ni wọ́n kì í ṣe bọ́là.
Wọ́n kàn mọ́ kúrọ́ máa búlà. Àwọn búlà náà ní tiwọn lọ́wọ́ o.
Àwọn ilé tí ó le ju àwọn bọ́là lọ.
Wọ́n àfi sí wọn ni.
Kò gbá ní àpò yẹn náà gbà. Mo rò bí ìtàn máa gbé òkè tó yìí. Àwọn ilé ti gùn gan.
Mo dára.
Ẹ gbà mí.
Ẹ ká pariwo bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. Tó ń kó àpò lọ́wọ́ kó mọ̀ bá sí traces.
Àwọn ilé tí ń jalè ti pẹ́.
Tí àbá rìkọ́ọ̀dù báyìí a kàn sọ pé a rí wọn.
Àwọn ò ní gbàgbọ́. Àwọn ilé tí ń ṣe tipẹ́ o. Wọ́n ti ń ṣe tipẹ́ o. Wọ́n ti ẹ̀bẹ̀rù tó nílé bá gbá wọn mú kí ló fẹ́ sọ.
Kí ló tún wá?
Láì wọ́n ṣe máa ṣe. Wọ́n ṣe máa ṣe.
Ẹni sùúrù. Inú ẹja ajé ó di kán ti gbé ká bá lọ́wọ́ wọn. Torí bóyá wà ń bẹ̀ yẹn wọ́n lè ní pé àwọn ń kọjá lọ ni.
Wọ́n lè deny.
Mo dáràn.
Àwọn ilé ti gúdù. Wàláì wọ́n ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ máa ṣe. Wọ́n ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ máa ṣe rárá ni. Ẹ dúró ná. Tí kìíní yẹn bá yẹ̀ lù kí ni wọ́n fẹ́ sọ?
Á lọ bá wọn sálẹ̀ ní ìsinyìí o. Kí ló fẹ́ ṣe?
ẹjẹ́ àwọn ọmọdé rẹ̀ ṣe ó ní kí yẹn dúró àwọn ọkàn wọn balẹ̀ lórí nǹkan tó ń ṣe wọn ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ máa ṣe ṣọ́n lóògùn wa ni àbí kí nìkan tá a bẹ́ẹ̀ ikú pa yín lẹ́yìn ṣeré ní
ẹ ní sùúrù lọ bá wọn ní ìsìn.
a gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ kán gbé lọ.
láyé wàhálà ọwọ́ wọn ti ṣẹ́gi lónìí bọ̀ ẹrù àdá tó ń mú lọ́wọ́ ní bèbí o.
àwọn onílé máa sọ
a kàn pariwo náà ni.
padà ló ń dùn yẹn.
sáwọn ló lọ gbọ́ padà.
àwọn ilé yìí wọ́n gbùgbọ́ o.
ìyàfẹ́ ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì mọ̀ bọ́. ẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ dúró sẹ́yìn lẹ ní ọ̀kadà sẹ́yìn lẹ ní jẹnẹrétọ̀ tẹ́ gbé yẹn. sẹ́yìn lẹ ní ọ̀kadà sẹ́yìn lẹ ní jẹ olè.
ṣé bàbá onílé yóò sì lé ni.
níbo ni dádì Tolú lọ.
níbo ni dádì Tolú wà lọ.
ní ìròbẹ́ nìyẹn kan wà níbi.
No, when I was also watching the video, right, I was like, scream now. What? I mean, are you going to let them carry the generator? Are you going to actually like watch them put the generator on a bike and then speed off? But it's not actually, I mean, it's not really, you know, a small gen. So it wasn't that easy as well. But the confidence, about that kind of confidence, I don't know the level of poverty or criminal mind that you must have, that you have to scale a fence to go and steal generator in a locked compound. In Nigeria, right, people have to provide their own houses. They have to build their own houses from scratch. They also have to provide their own water, electricity, as well as build high fences, like in prison, like they are in prison yard, in order to prevent thieves or criminals from robbing them. And people have to actually practically live like they are inside prison. Some will build fences, tall fences. They will still build, I mean, they will still mount barbed wires on top that. And you see, barbed wires on top of the fence. Not just that, they will still electrify the barbed wire just to ward off criminals. And the poorer the people become, the desperate they also become. So it's like dog eat dog, robbing themselves. And like at the last clip, I mean, last scene of that video, I could hear one of the thieves saying, if you come closer, I will cut you with the machete that he was holding. That is what they would do. Like, if you get closer to them, they will machete you. But the calculation was totally off. They knew that there was no one in that house. They knew that. Except that the neighbors were at home. The neighbors were around. And the neighbors were those who stopped them. Do you see that it took just 5 minutes, about 5 minutes, to jump into the compound, pick up the generator, put it on the fence, and then, put it down on the side of the fence, brought their bike, 5 minutes. It wasn't like forever. It wasn't like, it took them 30 minutes. No. 5 minutes. And this is what people have been subjected to in that place. You can get robbed anytime. And if you are lucky, if you're lucky, you will live to tell the story. There are others that won't be that lucky. They will kill them. People are being killed because of phone. They want to snatch your phone. They will stab you. They will even shoot you for a phone. This is the Nigeria that see, listen, it's not as if to see like it is new, all right? It's not new. But when you see the reports of the, of the constant insecurity, robbery, vandalism, I mean, it's not just that too. It's called burglary, rather. Burglary, robbery, and the rest of that. The level at which this is now happening in that place can tell you more about about the state